everyone, welcome back to another video by Simplilearn. This is Anubhav, and in this video, we are going to create a Next.js blog project using Next.js and Tailwind CSS. But before we begin, if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so you will get all the updates from Simplilearn. So for today's video, we are going to create a blog post with the help of Markdown files or text files. These Markdown files will then convert into static HTML CSS files. And then we are going to use Next.js to transform this blog into statically generated HTML file, and then we are going to style those pages with Tailwind CSS. Next.js has changed so many features like how files are routed and how data is fetched. I have covered all these features and changes in my Next.js tutorial video. You can check that video out to learn more about Next.js. I'll put the link in the description box, and by the end of this video, you will have the blog project using Next.js that you can showcase on your resume. So let's jump into it. But before that, do you know, according to Glassdoor, the average salary of a full stack developer in the US is $70,000 per annum, and it can go up to $125,000 per annum. In fact, by 2024, there will be 27% increase in jobs for developers according to the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Now is the best time to start picking up the knowledge needed to get started in this career. And if you want to become a software developer, consider the course on Full Stack Developer Mean Stack by Simplilearn and master those necessary skills. Check out the link in the description box for more details. So, I would like to ask you guys one question. Who created Next.js? Is it React.js? Or is it Vercel? Or is it front-end technology? Pause this video for a moment and comment the right answer in the comment section below. Now, let's start. There are so many code editors available, but my personal favorite and recommendation is Visual Studio Code. Let's open Visual Studio Code now. Open your terminal by just pressing Ctrl plus backtick, and the terminal will be open. Okay, let's create a Next.js project now. For that, write a command npx create -next app at latest. Okay, now this will create a Next.js project for us. Let's write a project name as Next.js blog. Okay, we need TypeScript. We don't need a slide. No. And no. Okay. Let's wait a couple of minutes. So our Next.js is successfully installed. Okay. Let's open this folder now. This is installed in my drive users, and yeah, let's open it. And this is how the structure of my folder looks like. Okay. Let's move ahead. Let's open the terminal again. The Next.js blog folder. Okay. Make sure that you are in the same folder. Okay. Okay. Let's write here a command npm run dev. So let's wait a couple of minutes to get our server ready. We're getting a local server here. Okay. Just wait a couple of minutes until it gets started. Let's go to the link for some time and see. Okay, it's running fine. So this is how the next page. Okay, let's minimize this and adjust our page here. Okay, so we can get all the updates. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Yeah. Now let's move ahead. Now let's delete this pages because we are not going to use this. Yes. Okay. Okay, the file has been deleted. Okay, that module, I repeat, okay, that module is deleted now. Now let's create another folder, not in the public. Let's give it a name as app, and inside this app, I'm going to create another file called page.tsx. Okay, let's press enter, and inside this, I'm going to create another constant home page. I'm going to create just a demo to hover around pages. So I'm just going to write this. Just follow along with me. Export. Now let's save this file and check whether it is running on the server or not. So once I have that, I should be able to run this on the page. And let's see the page directory here. Let's write app.page. Okay, let's change the name. Is again not showing. Let's see, compile server successfully. Yeah, the server is compiled. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's find out the issue here. Let's close this terminal and I'm going to show you why this is coming. Let's write a command in npm dev. This time it will not work. It will show us an error. Let's see. Yeah, the server was ready, but the error is this app directory is experimental. Okay, to enable add app directory true to your next config.js. So let's copy this here. Okay. Okay, just not copy it. Let's just close this terminal for now and open next.config. Here I'm going to write experimental, and inside that I'm going to write app. Let's do it in the next line. App, yeah, indirect true, right? And like this and this. Now let's save this file, and now again let's delete this one and check whether it is working or not. Open the terminal. Again we are going to write the command npm run dev, and this time it will show us some errors, but I'm sure it will work. fine. Okay, the best thing about this one, let me just show you, is that your page app.page.txt that we just now has created did not have a root layout. So Next.js have created a app.layout.txt and a head.txt for you. So this is a very cool feature of Next.js. So let me show you. So Next.js has created this file for us, head.txt. We can change it after some time, and the layout. Okay, and as you can see, the file that we have created, ph.txt, is working fine on the local host. Okay, so let's move ahead. Till now, we have discussed how to create a page and route on the server. So suppose if you want to create another page, for example, another route on the server, for that, we need to create another page. For that, we can create another folder in that app directory only and another page.txt, tsx, and then we can do the route. So let's see how does that works. Okay, let's create another folder and name it as block. Okay, block. Inside this block, I'm going to create another file, name it as page.tsx. Okay, right. Now let's copy this content from here and paste it here, and let's name it as block. And here also we have to declare and export block page. Okay, and here I'm going to print as welcome to my blog. Let's save this file and let's see if it's working or not. Okay, so comparison works. Let me close it and restart it. Okay, let's wait a couple of seconds. Yeah, compile. Okay, fine. It's compiled successfully. Let's refresh this page, and now let's add the extension. Let's say welcome to my blog. So this is how we do the routes. Now I don't want this blog folder because I don't want this page. We are creating a static page, so I'm gonna delete this one. Yeah, right. So this is how. Okay, let's go back to the local host. Okay, this is the layout for the page, right, and the header. So let's add few things in this part only. Create as a front page. Now let's change the name of this local host. This doesn't look very good, right? Okay, for that I'm going to go to my head.txt file, and in the title I'm going to write Simplilearn's blog. Now let's save it and see if it's working fine or not, right? Let's save this also. It's not showing. Let's see why. We only need to refresh this, right? Okay, let's refresh this, and this is Simplilearn's blog, right? Now let's work on this layout component, and let's here write footer and the header. Let's here create a header. Inside this we'll write this is a header, and let's copy this line, not copy, let's create another one. Footer. This is a footer. So let's save this one. Okay. Let's save this one now. And as you can see, it is showing this is a footer, this is a header, and this is a footer. This is all working with because of this children component that we have created, and this is fetching the page.txs. So this is how Next.js works, because basically in any web development, if we want to create a page, we just use a template. In that template, first comes the header, then the content, and then the footer. So Next.js helps us make it very easy. So let's work on this one. I'll create another component for header and footer. Yeah, and you can still see the content here. Okay, so this is wrapped inside the body. Now let's create another component for everything, for header and footer. So after the return, let's create a header. Inside this, I'm going to create a div, and inside that div, I'm going to declare the h1 tag that comes like a title, and then the like one line, welcome to Simplilearn and all that comes into that. And after, I'll create the footer. So let's write it. This is how we have created this header. Now let's just copy this one and paste it here. Inside this footer, I don't need this h1. Let's change it and give it a specific path. Now let's save this. And as you can see, Simplilearn's blog, welcome to Simplilearn, created by Anubhav. Let's just, yeah, right. Now we'll go back to this page and delete this hello from Simplilearn, because here I'm going to write my blog. So for that, I have to create another folder to insert my files for, which is Markdown files. Okay, so for that, I'm going to create another folder called posts. Okay, so inside this post, okay, it's coming inside the public folder. Inside the public, so let's delete this one and create it publicly, not inside there. Yes, here I'm going to write post. Okay, inside this post, I'm going to add my Markdown files. Okay, So I have created few Markdown files. Let me show you in 1 minute. I'll be back with the Markdown files. Now I have added few of the articles here like this. So this is few of them. You will get this in the description box. I'll add all the code, so don't ever worry about the code. So let's just cut these codes. Okay, yeah. Now I want to create a function that actually reads all these posts. Okay, these all the Markdown files. I want some function so it'll get copied from the directory. So for that I'm going to create one function. So for that I'm going to create one function. Let's name it as get post metadata. Okay, so let's do that. First let's import fs, which is a small file. I'll tell you what fs is in a while. Just a second. Let's create function now. Const get post metadata. So this is the function that I'm creating to fetch all the files, these MD files, from the directory. Okay, let's save this. So this is, I use this file system and I imported this also in the. Now let's make sure that the files that we are getting from here are only Markdown files, none other than that. Okay, let's add metadata also, so it can only fetch the MD files. So for that I'm going to create one function. Okay, post let me read the code again. Okay, not replace right now. Just want to create a file that can only fetch the MD files. For that I'm creating one function. Okay, this is fine, but here I'm going to add a function file that ends with okay, ends with m.md. Okay, so let's close this one and get this for your. Let me just zoom out. Now we'll create another function of slug. So slug is basically a part of the name without .md file, okay, which is not a Markdown file. That is slug. Okay, let's write const slugs right Markdown post dot mapping will use again file which doesn't have partition, and this arrow function says files dot replace with dot md comma and just that. Okay, let's save it. Now let's add the metadata function and post function inside this home page. So for that, I'm going here, which is okay. Let's write first launch post data. It is not metadata. Get post metadata. This will fetch all the files which ends with .md. Okay. Right. For preview that we want to see on the screen, which is post previews. Post, for that we have created one slug function. Post data dot map. Inside this slugs, only slug. We are declaring here the slug also, but we are not returning here, so it's return slug, so it can fetch easily. So we'll add one better function here again, and inside these brackets I'm going to declare one div container, and inside this div container I'm going to write these in h2 file. What is it? Slugs, which are the name of these files, .md files. Okay, don't worry about the code. I'm going to provide all the code to you guys. So okay, so let me first check again what is the okay, yeah, everything's looking good now. So let's just delete this h2 at once and give it a div container, and inside this div container I'm going to add this post metadata or post previews. Let's save it, and as you can see, it is showing Java, Kotlin versus Flutter, MongoDB, React versus Node versus React.js. So we can also change these files names as it's not coming very good. So let's change the name as Java, okay, and this name as versus, okay. MongoDB is fine, Node.js, okay. Yeah, these are good. And yeah, now everything looks good, right? This is just the structure. We'll do the styling in a while, but these are just the structures and the function that I'm telling you guys right now, right? Okay, let's move forward. So what I want now is I want to make these things clickable. So there is one feature in Next.js that you don't have to do like anchor tag to give these as a directing page, but what we can do is we can just link it. So for that I'm going to write one function here inside this div, which is link, and inside this I'm going to give it a path backtick post backtick, $, and inside this I'm going slug. So it will now be an anchor tag. This one, okay. Yeah, right. So now we have to cut this and paste it under the h2 tag, and let's save it. And now it's showing unhandled runtime error called stack. Okay, let's just see what's the error. Error link is not valid element tag and must neither have children nor use internal. Okay, fine. Let's see. Okay, let's remove this by just adding here import link from next/link. Close this, save this file, and you will see all the links. So if I'll open any of the link, this will show me this page could not be found. This is because, let me first see the, okay, so the URL is fine because it's going inside the post, and then it's taking the right URL. It can't fetch the right pages, m.md files. So for that, I'm going to create another folder here. Let's name that folder, okay, let's say posts only. Okay, let's say, so I have created one folder post here. So I want to create a folder dynamically in this post. Okay, so for that, in Next.js they have introduced one function where I can just write in the close brackets. So I'll write slug and then I'll close the bracket, and it will be a dynamic folder. So inside this I'll create a file .pages.tsx, right? So this is how we can fetch the data dynamically. So inside this post page, I'm going to declare a function. Let's name it as post page, and let's give it a fat arrow function. Okay, inside this I'm going to return set this in h1. This is a Simplilearn's post. Okay, so let's close this one, export the file so it can be rendered page, and let's save it, and let's refresh this page first. And then if you'll click any of the link, it'll show this is a Simplilearn post, but earlier it was giving us an error. So let's open any of this. That is again now here what I'm doing is I'm accessing the information from slug. So props params slug. So this is what when we actually want to fetch a data, we use this function and we can fetch it, right? So here we are calling the slug function that we just declared. So now let's check it. First let's just refresh it. Let's refresh the file and let's open Kotlin versus Flutter. So This is showing Simplilearn's blog. Welcome to Simplilearn. This is Simplilearn's post, Kotlin versus Flutter. Right? Isn't it awesome? Right? Okay, fine. Let's move ahead. Now, what I want is, I want the content of these MD5 Markdown files as a post and content and show it on the screen. So for that, I'm going to create another one. Let's create another function, constant, and I'm going to create one function as get post content, and I'm going to take a slug as a parameter. Okay, so let me write that function. Okay, let's now import the file fs to read the content of the file from fs. Now I'm going to add one paragraph for the content, and I'm going to declare that content, and let's just save it. Okay, it's not showing me the content. Let me see what's the issue here. Okay, we have added the content slug line, but we haven't added the line to fetch the function of content, so I'm gonna write it now. Let's write it here, get post content, and then again inside the function, I'm going to write slug. Now let's save it and see the magic of Next.js. So the post that we have clicked on was Kotlin versus Flutter, and this is the article which is coming. This is not in structural format, guys. Let me tell you first that this is not in structural format. So let's open React.js now. So this is the title of this, props in React.js, subtitle, all you need to know about React.js and the date it has been modified and all. This is all about React.js. It is not in an organized manner, but don't worry about it. We'll do everything here. Okay, right. Now what we can do is so we can add one npm. Okay, let's just open the terminal now. Let's CLS this one. Okay, so for now this, as you know, this is not in a readable manner. So for that we need to convert this markdown file into JSX file. So for that I'm going to install one fantastic dependency, which is Markdown to JSX. So let's install this one and let's see. Now, so it is installed in our system. Now we'll import this on our post.jsx, okay, which is Markdown. Now what we can do is, okay, I got it. Now what we can do is we have to wrap this content in the markdown so it can be fetched. Now let's save it and see the magic. Let's run this again. Just 2 minutes. Okay, let's compile. Now let's save it. Okay, let me just go back a little. Okay, now we are going to open the Java. So now as you can see, it is in a readable manner, right? Earlier it was not in a readable manner, but now we can read. This is Simplilearn's blog welcome, and this is a Simplilearn post Java. Title of this is this. Overriding. We can see the heading, the example, one output of this, explanation, and everything is in formatted manner. Okay, let's open this one. This is also in a formatted manner. Now let's move ahead. Okay, now as you can see, this is a metadata, right? This one is a metadata, but we can't see. I don't want to see this as like this. I want to see it here. So for that, I have to delete this one and make it as first. But firstly, let's make it as a link. So we can go back by just clicking on this Simplilearn block. So for that, let's click on the layout.tsx file, and here let's add here in Simplilearn's blog link dot ref dot slash, and inside this h1 let it be similar only, and let's just cut this and paste it here. Okay, let's save it. It's showing me an error. Let me read. We have to import this also, so not get the error, right? So let's go here, import link from next slash link, save it, and it is okay. Yeah, let's again save it, and we can just click on Simplilearn blog and click on any of the link, and it should be open like you can see here, right? Now my main concern is this metadata. Now how can we change that? Now let's change this one. Each problem have a solution, so I too have a solution for you guys. For this, I have to install a library, which is an external library. So I'm going to use a library called gray matters, and let us parse the front matter string from the file. Okay, first just install this. Okay, let's me open my terminal again, and let's write npm install save gray So the command is, let me show you guys here. Yeah, so press enter and let this library fully install in our system. So now let's import this file. Let's open the tsx file and import this one. And here I'm going to import matter from gray matter. So okay, so what we can do is we can delete these two lines and add Markdown. So we can just read all these files from that only. So let's add a function. Okay. So let me just add it here. So this is a Markdown file. Okay. So what we will do is here is we are reading the file sync operation with the file system. So it will open the file and read the file, the content of the file. Okay. And then we'll returning the title, date, subtitle, and the slug. And the slug will replace the file name again and again. Whenever we click on the other file, it will again go to the another file and read this same data again. Okay. All right. Let's move ahead. So this is showing us an error that this map is not collecting the slug operation. So what we can do is we have created an object and we will get back from calling it as a get post metadata. So now we'll actually create and define this in an interface as well. So let's create a component here. So I'm going to response that I'm returning to this so that this error will get closed. So I'm going to create here not here. Okay, let's create here a component folder. Components folder. And inside this component folder, I'm going to create a file called post metadata.ts. Okay. And inside this file, I'm going to write export interface post metadata, not this, metadata, and inside this I'm going to write the operation which I'm doing it here, this one, that it is returning this, but I don't want to return it here, so I can just created a file called post metadata, and inside this I'm going to declare these five things. Okay, like the title of this string, and the date is also string, subtitle string, and slug, which we defined, is also string, right? Okay, fine. Let's move ahead and let's save this file. Now instead of returning this anonymous object as post metadata, we can just return here that, okay, let me close this one, and inside here after this I'm going to declare that I'm using post metadata file. Can fetch the data from there only, right? Now I'm going to return the post. And now this post metadata is already imported by VS Code. So this is what I like about VS Code. Let's save it and see. It is calling stack. Okay, runtime handle runtime error. It's fine. We can just remove this one. Okay, so this is showing us an error because we have changed the data model and we haven't updated here in the home page yet. So we can do that. So it's not returning now slug, it's returning post. So let's change the file names. Post dot slug. Right. Yeah. Here also we have to change post dot slug. Yeah. Now let's save it and see if it's working fine. Let's open MongoDB and it's working fine. Okay. Now we got this MongoDB, but we have to still work on this part. Okay, it's fine. Let's move ahead. Now what we can do is we can just remove this slug and write here title. Let's save it now and see it got vanished. Let me check again. Let's check here what's happening. Slug. Now what I did here is I added two links of the post subtitle and post date, by which we can see the subtitle that we have added on this markdown file, subtitle, and the date of each and every article that we have pasted here, these metadata files. Okay, now let's open one of them like Java, but still we can see this metadata file. So what we can do to change this one is, let's open this page.txx, which is comes under slug post slug. Open this file and add here matter that we installed. Import matter from gray matter. Okay, let's use it here as okay. Let's create one const matter result. Okay, matter and then content. So what we are doing here is we are just adding the content. We are not adding this part that we have added in the markdown file. I just want to see the content from the starting, overriding, example, output, and example and all. I don't want to see this part. Okay, so for that we are adding one function here. So let's return the matter result dot content. Okay, so let's see if we want to add anything or remove. Okay, this looks fine, everything looks fine. Okay, let's just save this file and see it is removed from every post. Like, let's open MongoDB, and here also you just see this is a Simplilearn's post MongoDB, and all about MongoDB, like what is a MongoDB. Okay, let's just go to MongoDB and I'll show you how to change these things. What is MongoDB? What is MongoDB comes two times. So let's make this as a heading. So for that I'm going to write here #, and let's just save this file and let's refresh. As you can see, it's coming like this, right? Isn't it awesome? Okay, let's move ahead now. Let's go back and style the UI of this page. Okay, let's close this one. Now, as you can see, this page is like a little, we have written here this function get post method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside this component folder and I'm going to create one file. Let's name it as get post metadata data. Okay, metadata.ts, and I'm gonna go to this file and I'm gonna copy this function, okay, and post it inside this get post metadata. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna export. Let's write, I'm gonna export this function as a default function get post metadata. Okay, now also I have to go to this. Now I'll go to the page.dxx and I have to import all the imports and copy these so I can import it inside this get post metadata file. Also one more I need here, which is this one. Okay, fine. Now everything looks fine. Let's save this. Now I don't have to import these files inside this page, so let's make it little clean. So we don't need get post metadata here now, so let's import get post metadata inside this also. Get post metadata function, okay, that I have created in my components. Let's save that. And now inside my post log page I'm gonna use that here as well. So for that I'm gonna write here, okay, let me read first and then I'll add it here. Okay, after the prop spams I'm going to write get post metadata is content. Okay, generally, okay, let's create a static one. Yeah, right, everything looks good. Content, we don't need content now, so we can just return metadata here, and then we have to close this one, and then let's create one export for this return content and export const generate static params. Static params sync function and fat arrow function. Inside this I'm gonna write const post here I'm gonna write get post metadata here. Yeah, let's close this one too, and here we have generated static path for the get post metadata, right? Here we have to change the markdown as not count. Let's write here as post dot count. Yeah, but it's not working. It's okay, fine. Let's not add here this one, and beside this let's create another one and write post dot data dot title, so that we can see the title when we go. Let's save this one. There are errors also, but okay, let's see. Not post message, it's post dot data dot title. Okay, the post is not being fetched here, so let's see. And this is not the content we don't need because we have added post here. So let's write post here, and now everything is working fine. Let's refresh this page, and it's working fine. Right, now let's move forward, and let's first just return the mapping here, and here, right, return the path here, return posts. Whenever we return a post, it'll show the map, and inside that map it'll show me the post arrow function, and here I'm gonna write slug. Inside the slug, I'm gonna show it as post dot slug, and let's write comma here, and this is fine. Let's save it and see. Now we'll stop the terminal here by just pressing Ctrl C and yes, and here I'm gonna write npm run build, so we can see which function is working on, which is static, or on the server which function is running. So it'll show us it is creating an optimized production build. So let's wait a couple of minutes to see. So as you can see, it is a static page. Earlier it was not static. That's why we added and created this page called get post metadata. So with this, automatically rendered as static HTML, uses no initial props. Okay, so this is a static page now. Now let's run the dev website again. Yeah, everything looks fine now. Yes, everything is working fine. Okay, now what I want here is I can change this also, but it's fine. But okay, let's create one more file inside this component only for preview, post preview dot tsx. I'm going to create a post preview function and export it as default. So let me write it. So this is also a default function that I'm creating. Post preview. Let's save it. So I'll go here and copy this entire div from here and post it inside this. Now I'm gonna return this div here. So this will need some input also. Okay. So what we can do is we can just go back, return only. We are going to use get post metadata here. So for that, I'm going to do is inside this, I'm going to write props get post, only post data. Okay. Now we have to import this file also in the top. So I'll import this. Import post metadata from post metadata. Let's save it. And it's not working fine. So we need to replace these posts from not props. So I changed all the posts from props. Now I'll change missing links. So we'll import this one and it'll be good to go. Now coming back to this. Okay, let's just create another component here so it'll look more clean. So for that I'm going to create one here, and the link we don't need here right now, but it's fine if we do. Okay, now what we'll do here is we are going to delete this first. We don't need it actually. So here we'll write post preview that we just now created. Inside this we have written all these things, so we don't need this. So here I'm going to write post.slug, and let's just close this with the spread operation. Spread operator. Okay, let me show you that. This dot notation is called the spread operator. So I'm gonna write post, and let's close this one. Right, let's save it, and let's just refresh this one also. It's showing an error. Okay, let's just see, because I guess I refreshed this page earlier. Okay, let's just close this and again press this run. So this is working fine now. Okay, so let me tell you about this dot notation. Okay, so this will take all the operations and make them the input parameter for this component. Okay, so let's move forward. Now I think okay, let's just remove this one from our page. Let's save it again, and I think everything is fine now. Let's close the terminal and run it again and see everything looks fine or not. It'll work. Okay, let's wait a couple of seconds more. It's successfully compiled. Okay, let's again go back here and refresh this page. Okay, let's open this few of them. Welcome to Simplilearn, overriding, go back, MongoDB, what is MongoDB and all, going back to Simplilearn's blog. Now everything is looking completely fine. Now our next step is to create this blog, static blog page into a beautiful looking web page. So I'm gonna use Tailwind.css for creating the styling of this page. So if you don't know what is Tailwind, so if you don't know that what is Tailwind and all, it lets you write CSS basically as classic and utility classes. So we can rapidly build modern website without ever leaving your HTML, right? And also you can compose these components or files directly in your JSX or your TSX files, right? So this is what I love about Tailwind.css. And let's see more. And we can just change the looks of the file. So this is all about Tailwind CSS. Okay. So this is a very easy to start. Now here I'm gonna write Next.js to install, how to install Tailwind and CSS in your system. So for that it's saying npx create a project and all, but we have a project and all, but okay. So let's write here Tailwind CSS. Now I'm gonna stop my terminal. Let's open it and let's write yeah. Here I have written the how to install Tailwind in your system. Let's write npx Tailwind CSS init p. Now you'll have this tailwind .config.js. So we'll open this file as Tailwind it is installed in our system. So we'll go to this content part and add dot pages slash star star and add the file names. Okay, let me add it. After doing this content pages, now what we are going to do is we're going to add this three properties of Tailwind inside the CSS file. Okay, so let's open global.css. That must be here only. Let's see inside the styles. I'll find one first one, which is the styles. Okay, let's copy and replace everything. Okay, now let's save this file, and now we actually need to import these file into our app. So let's open this layout.txt and let's write and write import dot styles, and inside the styles there's a file name globals. It is globals.css. Okay, let's close this one and let's save. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me just copy this snippet from here and we'll put it inside the header link here. Yeah, let's save it and see. As now our Tailwind is successfully working, and as you can see all the links are disappeared, but we can do what is we are going to go to this page. Let's delete these files as we don't need it right now. So let's open the layout.txt and let's work on this blog, Simplilearn's blog, and make the header more beautiful and make it in center. Okay, so let's just make it here so it look more big. And okay, let's close this one and right here inside the class name, as we have written these lines, let's written here as center. Okay, let's save it. Simplilearn blog is in center now, and let's try give it a color also. BG slate 900 B8 D7. Let's save it, and it's a little black here. We have to do it in white. So what we can do is let's create another link here. Okay, welcome to Simplilearn, and this and that, this one, and okay, let's just give it not, let's just create here after the header inside this div a class name, and let's give it a class name as text center. And inside this text center I'm going to use these let's cut this and paste it here, right? And we need rounded also. Save it. Welcome to Simplilearn is also coming in the center. Simplilearn blog. Okay, fine. Now what we have to do is we need to cut this and make it as 3 pixel, and we need the color of the text white. Okay, let's save it. PG text white. Yes, so Simplilearn's blog is coming in the white color. So let's add here inside this also. Welcome to Simplilearn. Let's give it a class name. Let's give it text slate 300, and it'll come also a faded white, right? So this is how we have created our. This is also working. So I also need a margin here for like, because it's just very close inside it is everything. So what we can do is we can just P8 and let's give it a margin of 6. 6 or 4 is also good. Yeah, 4 is also fine. No, I don't need it this much. 8 is fine. Okay. Now let's work on the footer part. I also need to create this created by Anubhav, like a little funky. So what we can do is let's create inside this div and write it a class name and give it a border. So let's make it a little darker. Okay, so let's give it padding here. Here I'm gonna write here, and this looks fine. And we need to make it this text center. So for that I'm gonna write text center, right? After that text slate 400 or yeah, this looks fine. And we need this little bold, text white, and let's write it as here is font bold. Yeah, looks fine. And inside this let's make it font Y bold. Let's see if it's look good. No, it doesn't look that good. So this is fine. Let's give it some padding because it's looking very close. Yeah. Then it's fine. So this looks fine. From 3 is much better. You don't do that, right? Okay, fine. Now what we'll do is we'll work on the content which is inside this. For that I'm gonna open this file postpreview.tsx, and inside this file I'm gonna create one class inside this div. Let's give it a class name as border, and inside this border I'm going to write border slate 200/4. So I have to make this look similar to the header. So let's give it a shot now, but we can change it afterwards. Rounded dot medium, and let's add some shadow here. It is also MD. Let's save it, and this looks fine, right? And let's make it BG white. Save it. Yeah, looks fine. Create by Anubhav 1 2 3 4 5 6. This looks more clumsy, but we can change that for sure. Okay, this is done. It's right here. 7 for more spacing. Now we can change that, no issues. Okay, inside this I have to create one div is closed. Now inside this link I'm going to write inside this, give it a class name and font bold, text of the Java Kotlin versus Flutter. We need to make it more violent, so I'm gonna use the color red to look more dark, right? So let's give it not so dark, a little light. Yeah, this looks more good. Yeah, and whenever we hover on this, I want hover effect also, so I'm gonna write hover and okay, let's save it and see. Yeah, this looks fine. Yes, and now class names, text small, text slate 400, and this looks fine. Let's copy it from here only and paste it. Let's not make it small and not as same as this. Let's make it a little dark. Yeah, this looks fine, but it's very small text, so this looks more good on the screen. Let's looks very light here, so yeah, this looks fine, right? Okay, and let's make this light. Yeah, looks good. Now let's create boxes like this. This also looks good, but let's make it more clean. Let's open this file and let's add here a class and add a grid. I'm going to grid one column in a grid. And the gap should be of 4 pixels. 1 pixel is fine. And let's move ahead and right, this looks fine. And let's say if the screen is big, then grid calls is 2. Okay, let's save it now. And if the screen size is big, so if the screen size is medium, and it'll be like this, and if the screen size is like this, right, it's looking good. Now let's open the layout again, and inside this layout I'm gonna give this header called children and footer class. Let's write class name max auto and maxed width to pixel should be 6. Looks more good, right? This is looking beautiful, guys, right? This looks beautiful, right? So okay, let's open anything here. You'll see, yeah. So this looks more beautiful now, and it's working completely fine. So let's open anything, and let's open it like this. As you can see, as we open Kotlin versus Flutter, you'll see the article on Simplilearn's blog. You'll love the, okay, let's see, yeah. So this looks Node.js, and this is the post created by Anubhav. Yeah, this is working fine now. Yeah, right, this is working fine now. We just had to refresh this page, right? So with this, we have reached the end of this video on what is Next.js blog page that we created with the help of Tailwind CSS and Next.js 13. For more videos like this, please subscribe to Simplilearn. Thanks for watching this video. Until next time, stay safe and keep learning. Thank you.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.